Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Abroad show here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. It's Monday, the 11th of November, 2024. I've got Nick Caruso-Wishart with me. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. How you doing? Go the Blues.
Go the Blues. Apologies for my white filter. I have no idea what's going on, and I've never seen it, so you'll just have to deal with it, everyone. I've got this tint. It is what it is. Yeah, it's weird. It came up 10 minutes ago, and I didn't have enough time to fix it, so I'll look into it and see what the go is. If anybody is a Sony camera expert with webcam, get in touch because I'll need some help. Technology, Nick, it happens.
Meant to be taken over, but I see all these little issues like this coming up, and there's always got to be a human to fix it. It's my theory.
Yes. Mate, how are you? What's going on? What's the update?
I'm good. Life's good. Finally enjoying off season. We've cheer squad and stuff. We've only just really finished. The AFLW's just finished a week or so ago, and banner nights and going to games on weekends is only just really ending for us. So I can now finally say we're on off season, and only a couple more weeks, and then we've got a draft, and then a couple more weeks. You blink, and it's 2025. So it'll all come around again pretty soon. I'm pretty sure the players are due back for preseason soon, aren't they?
Well, I saw a lot of other clubs with their day one posts today, so I got a little bit of FOMO.
I saw one with Jack Silvani was training last week, and I think a few of the guys, the guys who were trained on, so Sam Durden and Matt Carroll are still training with us. I saw them, and I think I saw Cottrell and Silvani running around, so that was sight for sore eyes, those two.
Yeah, absolutely, sight for sore eyes. I think we're going to be reminded pretty brutally we're talking right now about who we've lost and Owies and Kennedy and Carroll, but we didn't see Jack Silvani at all.
No.
We didn't see Doherty at all. So Cottrell, we missed a big chunk of him.
And he just got really, really good before that too. Articles about people might not turn up to watch me, but my role's important. He was really starting to break out.
So there's a bit of optimism there, and I actually found the last 2 weeks to be the first fortnight of the year where I felt like some level of just calm and the ability to breathe, and I don't know. So, I mean, it's going to ramp up next week. We've got a bumper live show planned. Pommy and I are doing a stream, like a multi-stream for the draft. It's going to be we're planning it now. It's going to be fun.
I can't wait to see Pom absolutely melt down if Steve Silvani bids on Ben Camporelli. I can't wait. I'll just tune in for that, everyone.
No, it's going to be fun. I didn't do one last year. And then we've sort of put together highlights and packages, and he's got a live power ranking, and it's going to be interactive. And anyway, but I feel like next week it ramps up, and then there's probably that week of quiet, and then like you said, they're back at training pre-season, and then before we know it, we're at Christmas week, and I don't know who's wearing the Santa outfit this year because Ed Curnow's not around, but
I'm putting money on. I'd be putting money on Gov.
Yep,
he's got another baby on the way, but he's those guys that are always surrounded by kids. I think Ed's got another one on the way. Is that anyone who saw photos from the Wiedering wedding? There was anyway. We don't want to speculate on bumps, but might be another little Curnow running around soon, maybe.
Could be. Well, speaking of, so was that an engagement party turned into a surprise wedding?
Surprise wedding, yeah. How cool's that?
I rate it so highly.
I love that, and they're the sort of people that. So I'm pretty sure they've been together since about year 8, year 9. So this is one of those long time coming. And then they've just said, stuff it. Let's just do it. I love it. It's great.
It's efficient. No need to get drunk twice. Wiedering thinking about his preparation for next year.
It's very Wieders efficiency, isn't it? I'm no nonsense. Let's just get this done.
I love it.
It's on brand for Wieders.
So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Wiedering. very exciting times.
Absolutely.
Like the last 2 years in particular, the boys have really grown up. Like fatherhood and marriage has really started to happen for them.
Yep. Central. Like I remember speaking to you at the start of this year, or to start of 2024, and saying, what do we put down the growth that we saw 2023? What do we put that to? And I remember thinking that these, as a group, the priorities in life are just changing. There's the older the list, the less focus on. It's not about going out on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and how many girls can I get, and what can I drink, and what can I put up my nose, and whatever else. It's not really their focus as much anymore. There is family. There is just an extra layer of maturity that comes with being a certain age. And I think that having a core group in that age bracket means that young kids coming through the door have a real foundation and an example to look to when they come in about what standards are like. You know, you got someone like Cripps who we keep thinking how much better can he do, but he keeps finding a new way and says, well, I'm going to get rid of milk out of my coffees because it's going to get me that 0.1% added advantage. That's the level of standards that kids coming in the door are having set for them now. So I do think that there is a direct, there is a link, whether it's how solid it is, but there's definitely a link between the maturity of the group off field and the results we start to see on field.
No doubt. I was having this conversation earlier today, and I was sort of talking about, what's it going to take for Carlton as a team to improve. And I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to be the best version of themselves when the players are holding the players to account, as opposed to, the coaches and high performance staff sort of punishing them for not doing the right thing. Like when it's player driven, I think that's when you're going to get the best version of whatever the team will be.
No, I'd pay that. Absolutely. I mean, the standards have to come from within. If you're not setting yourself standards, then you're only there to tick boxes that someone else is setting for you.
Yeah.
And we see the teams who have been consistently up there for a long time now, and it's the Sydneys, the Geelongs. Now Brisbane's been in finals, I think 6 or 7 years in a row. A lot of talented players come through the door, but you've got to shape up or ship out sort of thing. They're ruthless, and they're saying, well, no, these are the standards we set. They'll be non-negotiable in terms of the amount of money that they're willing to pay people to bring them in the door. That's the standard that they set. But the playing group as well, they say, well, no. And good players play consistent runs of games in the VFL. Sydney, they had their captain, Luke Parker, couldn't get a game all year. Comes on grand final day and ends up with 3 or 4 goals. So he's definitely good enough still. It's not like he's no good. He just wasn't up to the standards that they as a club were setting. And he finds himself now playing for North Melbourne.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, Sydney didn't even, I mean, they lost the granny, but still, like, they didn't play their captain.
Yeah,
like,
they're a pretty handy side.
Yeah. So maybe I want to go back to Cheer Squad theme. So I guess you did touch on AFLW season ending and therefore Cheer Squad season ending.
Yeah.
Maybe let's start with AFLW, because I sat here last week with Pommy and just sort of spoke about the season that was the AFLW. And what's your take on what happened? You were obviously right there at the coalface watching the whole year. So what's going on?
How long have you got? Yeah. Look, at the start of the season of AFLW, I was fortunate enough to go to the season launch that they did, like for the player sponsors and stuff. So the Cheer Squad sponsor, Millie Velado and Mimi Hill. So we've got a couple of player sponsorships, and that meant that we got to go to the player sponsors night at the function room at the club. And again, it's rhetoric, it sucks you in, yeah. But the atmosphere in the room, they genuinely believed we're not quite. I don't think they thought they were ready for a tilt at a premiership or anything, but they were like, no. The time for learnings and development, that stuff, that's cool. We've had a year or so of that. Now we reckon we can start to really build on that. And I was like, oh, that's really encouraging. And I remember telling several people coming out of there going, these guys think that they're ready to start at least being on having a winning season. Push for the top 8 and get in there and have a real dip at it. And from there, who knows? It just didn't eventuate. And I am a tiny bit disappointed in a lot of the talk coming out of the club is back to that where we've taken a lot of learnings out of these games. And I just have Brendan Bolton flashbacks about green shoots all of a sudden. But it's ironic that it's the way that the season is structured. I mean, it's so much of a shambles, I think, that not every team even plays each other. So your fixturing matters massively where you finish on a ladder. And it just so happened out of the 10 games we played 7 of the 8 finalists for this year.
Right.
So that, okay, I can make an excuse there, but you've got to be good enough to beat anyone if you're going to make the top 8. But there were games against teams who finished well and truly in the bottom half of the ladder that we just got mauled in. There was one game that we played the Bulldogs at Icon Park. And
was this the game where the Dogs hadn't kicked a goal in 2 games?
Yes. So the Dogs hadn't kicked a goal. I think it was in the last 9 quarters preceding playing us. Carlton kicked the first, and I thought, here we go. This is good. And I think we ended up with 1 goal. Or 1 goal something for the game, but the Bulldogs had a girl, Elaine Grigg, who it was like watching prime Eddie Betts and Jeff Garlett running around. She was so faster than everyone else on the ground and silky and skillful, and she was playing at a level, we hear the term playing boys against men. Well, she was a woman playing against girls that night. And, they're just totally outclassed. So they had a couple of really, really good wins. I think we had a win away versus Freo, who are a pretty handy side. They've just won a final. Thank God, Freo. You beat the Bombers. But we beat Freo away, which is a very, very massive win. Got to beat Collingwood at Victoria Park. Another beautiful win. Geelong, who played in a prelim last year, we kept them goalless in a win at Icon Park. So there was enough little teasers. I think the summary for the season is that Carlton's AFLW is a tease because they keep showing a little glimpse of we're ready to really, really be close, but then the following week, there's no consistency. The following week, they fall back into this unorganized. The game plan doesn't really seem to be visible all of a sudden. And maybe that's a byproduct of being such a young team. But again, that's making excuses that I don't think we need to be making. I would hope that they'll be pretty aggressive trade, draft, whatever wise, because you only get 10 games in the season. So you've got to make sure you've got as much talent on your list to start with as you can. So I really think the talent pool for 18 teams is very stretched.
Right.
I look at the AFLW competition now like a bit like the Premier League. There's about 5 or 6 really, really good sides, and then the talent just drops off massively. So you've got to get the talent in the door by any means necessary.
So we just got to kind of wait it out until. I mean, there's no more expansion happening, so that we're not going to get a circumstance. Yeah.
Look, and again, these are excuses, but when you lose, Prasparkas and all these sort of things for nothing to expansion clubs.
There was no compensation. It was there.
That stuff. I mean, imagine tomorrow when Tassie come in and Cripps walks out the door and you don't get anything for him. What the hell?
Yeah, true.
But retrospectively, can't change that now. What we can change is, moving forward. I think there are enough glimmers from young players. I think Keely Shearer will win a AFLW Best and Fairest by the length of Flemington Straight. I nearly said something else then I shouldn't have said. I
think I was with you too.
At the BNF one year, I took a P next to Cam Wood, and let's just say anyway. No, I think, look, and Keely's only 21 years old. So to have 20 and 21-year-olds really, really come into their own shows promise. But promise means nothing when you finished, what have they finished, 12th or 13th in the end? I think 13th. So promise is promise, but it doesn't win you games of football.
I'm just looking forward to when the rhetoric gets a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
Look, club wide, the men as well, like
100%,
just more
strongly
serious.
agree.
Like, you know, I get our W program and where it's at, and I understand we got gutted with the players that we lost, but I think that was that 3 seasons that they've been gone now, or is it 2?
This would have been the third. Yep.
This would have been the 3rd. So, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It's just I just want whatever's representing the club to have a passion with it, you know? Because I was saying last week, it's not a hard sell for me. It's the monogram is not a hard sell for me to get into it. But if I don't see a passionate program, I can't get passionate about it.
And that I strongly agree with. So one thing I would like to see from the club is if we want to get eyes on this product and build it and make money out of it and everything, you've got to outlay a bit of cash to promote it. And I understand totally there's a lot of people out there that might be tuned out of the product as a whole, or even if they might like watching the top teams and acknowledge that, yeah, they're pretty good, but Carlton's not at a level I really want to be watching. You've got to find something about that product that people want to come and watch. And how can we market this product, or how can we invest in this product to make people more interested, whether it is playing on the monogram a bit more and come to Icon Park and watch this monogram run around and play footy, and you can see Carlton and Essendon or Carlton Hawthorn, Carlton Collingwood at Icon Park. You know, that's a sales pitch for some people. Whether you play up the, you know, young girls can become anything angle a bit more. They've really got to be smart with the marketing, I think, because those who turn up are passionate about this.
Yeah.
You know, my hand's up on one, but there's a lot of cheer squad people. There's a lot of wider Carlton community people who they don't give a stuff about the guys' footy. This is their product and they love it. And that's awesome. And I love that. It's its own little niche group. I don't want to see it as a little niche group. I want to see that. How do we make that explode? And yes, the talent wise for a whole competition will take a while to, really grow that. I think we can skip ahead of a few teams if you're really aggressive trade wise and smart, just to get, top level talent in the door.
For sure. Well,
we've lost all these big names, the Taylor Harris, the Prasparkas, etc. They've just gone through a new EBA, so the pay has gone up considerably. That tells me that there's a lot of money to be spent on top level players. So salary cap wise, we should be having options.
See, that's where I'm enticed by what the solution is. So like marketing it, I understand putting dollars in it to promote the game totally. Yep. From a Carlton point of view, I feel like there's such a big level of trust in the program that's been lost, because the marketability was Group 1.
Yes.
And fair enough, and it worked. But then you lose the trust when you didn't build a strong enough culture that players
wanted to stay.
So you lose that. For me, the best way to market the Carlton women's program is to invest in the team.
Yeah.
Play finals. I'm sure that if the Carlton women's team was playing finals at Icon Park last weekend, many people would have showed up, just because they're in finals, and that means they're a top 8 team, and results are at the forefront.
Strongly agree. One of the teams who's been right up there for the whole duration of AFLW's existence. North Melbourne has been thereabout. They haven't won a flag yet, so they haven't won a thing, but they've been consistently thereabout every single AFLW season. I think they're the best team this year by a long way. They played a home game against Adelaide Crows at Icon Park the other night and had a crowd of just under 8,000 there. The males played a game in Tassie versus the Adelaide Crows this year and had 5,000 people at it.
Yeah.
So they'll turn up. North fans who haven't experienced anything to cheer about for how long are thinking, this might be our one chance at a premiership of sorts. This would be huge. We want to be there. And they had 8,000 against an interstate side on the weekend. If they play a Collingwood or a Geelong or a Richmond or someone, Hawthorn, in the coming weeks, they'll get 15. They'll pack out Icon Park in a prelim or a grand final.
Yeah. So with I guess the AFLW season's not over yet, but the Carlton side of things is over. Like, what happens from a cheer squad point of view between now and day one of preseason? Like, when's the downtime? And take us into what happens.
Yeah, it's funny how I said I'm finally getting some downtime away from it, but it's kind of, I'm a nerd for this stuff. I love it. So I'm already thinking, what can we do next year? What can be bigger? What can be better? What can be louder? How can we be cooler? How can we draw more people in? How can we make the wider Carlton fan base more rabid and rowdy? There's already planning. Like, we've already organised things like what our raffles are going to look like next year. But for us, there's a bit of downtime. I mean, the AFL are really clever, and they drip feed little things to just keep you interested enough. So you never really need to
that little breadcrumbs.
We'll tell you what gather round's going to look like, and then everyone goes, "Oh, we better go and plan gather round." So we book the accommodation, everyone books their travel, and all that sort of stuff. So that's all done. But things like that, and they'll keep drip feeding that. So they'll drip feed other little things pretty soon. The whole fixture, or at least the majority of it, I'm expecting just after the draft. I'm guessing. I don't know.
No, this week, 14th.
14th, there you go, beautiful. So I'm tipping that things like that will really just start to, bubble away at a few people again. But no, Cheer Squad, we've it's a good break. I think for volunteers who are turning up and giving their time to the club each week, it's a long season as it is. Then you add on the AFLW as well. A lot of our volunteers have been turning up to banner nights and games and staying later to pack everything up since March. So it's a long year. But yeah, a well-earned break for them. But no doubt soon in the new year, it'll all start again. And hopefully everyone rests the voices a little bit. And what did we finish this year with? 106,000 members, was it? Or ish?
106. Yeah.
Let's hit the ground running next year, and louder and better than ever, hopefully. And hopefully we've got something to be loud about.
Well, that's the thing. Like, haven't even won a flag.
Yeah.
Haven't even won a flag yet, and we've got 100,000 members. So
it's a myth that Richmond fans were there during the crap times. They weren't.
Yeah, garbage. Absolutely rubbish.
And now they're crap again. They're getting 12,000 a game. I was glad for them that Dusty's farewell game, they got a big crowd, but other than that, they're really struggling. So bravo to the Carlton fans. You guys keep doing your bit. Now, on field, let's see that reciprocated back to the fans. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah. Let's focus on, you did mention the fixture. So that's the first bit of news that's come over the last week. So it was really weird the way it was reported, because I saw an article from Jay Clark saying that we would have 3 confirmed away games: Richmond, round 1, Gather Round, and North Melbourne.
Is good Friday.
But then Gather Round came out today, and it looks like we're the nominated home team.
Well, it's the first time it's been our home game. So for those who travel, we'll be at the grandstand end. Might get a bit of shade finally, and setting up banner and all that sort of stuff. We don't have to run the whole field and all that sort of thing. But so that's good. But it's interesting in that playing West Coast there probably means now, well, if it's our home game, we won't have someone like West Coast in Melbourne if we play them twice.
So you're saying it would look like a Freo away game for sure? Is that what you mean?
If we play West Coast twice, definitely away.
Yep.
I doubt because where we finish in the ladder, we're very unlikely to get teams like, we might get one team down the bottom twice, but I doubt it's them.
Yeah.
Probably someone like an Essendon more likely, just because of the gate receipts and everything that come in. But yeah, that leads me to believe definitely you'd probably get a Freo away.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're probably not going to Perth. We've played Freo. Did we play Freo in Melbourne this year?
We played Freo we only played them in Gather Round once. And then the year before, We played them
Home and
at
away the year before.
home and away. Oh, we lost
Yeah.
early in the year. That's right. That's when
Pino did his knee in the right.
Pino did his PCL because Darcy put his knee on it. Dog. Still remember. Streets don't forget, Nick.
I love that's the only part of the game I remember as well.
That's right.
And yeah, so that is what I read far too much into this, but then no opening rounds because of those early season away games. I think it was the reasoning the club gave was that it was a really congested fixture early.
Right.
And then we kind of got the bye. Our bye was round 2, wasn't it? Or round.
That's right.
It was kind of pointless. Had that bye have come about round 6 or round 7, you could have had a block of 6 games, break, and then set yourself for the season. I think them pulling themselves out of opening round is a very deliberate and calculated thing for a conditioning purpose.
Fair. Do you, and I'll open this up to anyone watching at home, do you have, when you think of the fixture coming out this week, what is at the top of the priority for you? Like, what do you actually look for before the fixture comes out?
What's on my wish list sort of thing?
What matters to you?
I'm very blessed in that both my wife and I work close to the city. I work 500 meters from MCG. We live pretty close to the city. We don't have kids yet. But so we're not really impacted as much by the scheduling. A lot of people say, well, Friday night suck for families or Sunday afternoon suck for families and that sort of thing. For me, what I look for is just those big games. I live for the blockbusters. I want to see Carlton Collingwood twice. I want to see Carlton Richmond twice. I want to see Carlton Essendon twice. For me, that's the first thing I look for. If we manage to get them home and away, that's awesome. Other than that, I'm a sucker. My wife and I go every single interstate. So we look forward to where are we going and how many times. And the second that, gather round info got out, we booked our accom, we booked all their travel and everything. So Adelaide is locked in at least once, but we've got such a great relationship with the interstate supporters in each state that we kind of look forward to who are we going to see, when are we going to go and visit them, how long should we stay. That's the second the fixture comes out, we've booked 4 or 5 interstate games straight away. And we're planning, where are we going to stay for one night? Where are we going to stay for 4 or 5 nights? Sometimes make a long weekend out of it. It's part of what makes being a Carlton fan awesome is the, traveling the country with your mates, watching the Mighty Blues.
Yeah, that's fair. Peter, you make a good point. That's the first thing I'll look at. No. I love Collingwood games. I want 2 a year. I know that we lost both this year, but I still want them.
Yeah.
And then I look at how many 5-day breaks we have because I do think they are important. They not to already make an excuse, but a 5-day break is brutal the longer you get into a season.
Yep, massively.
And
I think also the timing of certain games. So like having an interstate game before a bye kind of is negated by the bye. So you don't really have to worry about traveling home and then fronting up the following week and that sort of thing. So yeah, if certain, we all know which team we're talking about, but certain teams just really always happen to, leading into the bye, they've got a real hard, Brisbane away or something like that just before the bye so that they can gear themselves up for that game knowing they've got a week off following up.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I would really love to see something like that on their fixture. If you have to do the hard road travel, do it before you get a bit of a break afterwards.
Fair. What's your take on Thursday night footy?
When
Carlton are playing and when Carlton are not playing?
When Carlton's not playing, I love it because it gives you something to watch. And I really enjoy it. And I'm even a sucker. I don't mind. There was 1 or 2 Monday games. I think they have the night before Anzac Day happened on a Monday this year. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. And then King's birthday and all those sort of things. I don't mind any night. Any night that there's footy on TV, if it's not my team, I'll probably be watching. But attending, as I said, for us so far, I mean, we're pretty close to the city. It doesn't make too much of a difference for us. I don't know. Do you have an opposition to it? I know that the feedback is families. A lot of people with kids and say, well, how am I meant to get the kids from school, come from work, come from drive? We live an hour and a half away as it is, you know.
Yeah, I obviously don't have that in my reality, you know, having kids to take to school. And selfishly, from my point of view, Thursday night footy is the best because, you know, you get the fan cams done, the content gets to breathe. My personal favorite time for football is Saturday twilight or Saturday afternoon. I love coming home and having time to do the fan cams. And then if I want to go out afterwards or like just not be going to bed at like 3 a.m. Yeah, you know, so, but that's just from a work point of view. But I totally understand like families and kids and school, and like there's a whole mission that goes into getting the kids ready for school the next day. So I do understand it. But the reality is not everyone is living the exact same life, you know?
The night of that Melbourne semi-final with the Acres thing, I remember texting you legitimately at like 5:30 in the morning because I got home and packing up the banner and whatever else we did. We didn't get home until about midnight. So I started watching fan cams delayed. And I think you were on there until at least you had to put a second day up because it was too much. I remember texting you saying it's 10 to 5 and I'm watching fan cams delayed, just watching everyone's reactions. And I was buzzing still. So I think if you have a Thursday or a Friday game, you've got the whole weekend then to recover for me. And you've got the whole weekend free to do whatever else life is there as well. So I really like Friday, Thursday games because then I've got my weekend free to do whatever I need.
Yeah, that's fair.
If for us, if it's a Sunday Arvo or something, you know, you just got to get there several hours early to set up. You watch the game, you finish several hours later. You're leaving home at midday, you're getting home at midnight on a Sunday. You've lost the entire day.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Sunday night is a disaster.
Hate it. Yep. That's probably the least favorite.
Oh my God. Yeah. So when we played, what did we do? Did we do North on a Sunday into Port on a, no. We had a Sunday game into a Thursday. I think it was North on a Sunday into Port Adelaide on a Friday or a Thursday night.
No, Thursday it was. It might have been. It was Port Adelaide away, wasn't it? We played them on a Thursday night away. We surely wouldn't have had. Maybe you might be right.
The one that we played Port in Melbourne, was that a Friday night?
I know that my wife's in the chat having a look at the app right now.
Someone help me out. I remember we played on a Sunday night. I think it was North. And then the next game was Friday, I'm pretty sure. And I just remember like fan cams, review, blah, blah. It was just like so crammed. And I just didn't, Sunday night's not it for me. That's my little.
It was Gold Coast in Gold Coast in Melbourne on a Saturday.
Okay.
Into Thursday away.
Oh, okay. Into Thursday away.
So that sucks. That's a 5-day break. But with Adelaide, it's a half-hour flight, but it's logistically.
Yeah. So that's the fixture. On the 14th, in a couple of days, it'll come out and we'll dissect it from there. I want to talk about some of the long format videos I've done. I forgot to mention Gov. We'll mention Gov, Curnow, and Motlop. There's 3 different journeys here. Maybe we'll start with Charlie. So it's crazy first of all, it's crazy how much time's passed. You know, like drafted in 15, the commentary around his drinking incident before the draft seemed like a lifetime ago. I forgot that he had tweaked the knee in his first year and his second year. And like, I just forgot how many knee complications there were. I forgot the sequence of events. Like he went 2 knee injuries in 2019 into slipping on tiles, basketball, kicking a footy with Ed. Like it just made me reminded me that Like it's a miracle that he's playing, let alone at the level that he got to.
It's not only as you say, the time he missed and the accumulated time he missed. That's also the years where you're meant to be, as a key forward, especially developing, learning a craft. All of that sort of stuff comes with just repetition. You've got to get out there, get games under your belt, and you'll improve. He really missed those years, a real chunk of that time where you get to grow into your own body. And what's more amazing is coming out of that, 2 Colemans back to back, and up until round 19, he was unset for a third. It's unheard of for any player, let alone coming back from 2 knees in a row to win 2 Colemans. Very, very good players who were in the AFL Hall of Fame never won 2 Colemans in a row. And let alone win multiples in general. It's hard to win multiple, but yeah, he's a marvel. And look, to be honest, Carlton fans spent a lot of this year kind of lamenting Charlie's body language a lot of times, and where's the hunger, and where he looks a bit, he looks he's in first gear. He still had a pretty handy year. How many goals did he get for the season now?
57 goals from 21 games.
57 goals for a bloke that Carlton fans were kind of saying, hey, where's his head at? It's a handy return.
And 3 rolled ankles. North, Port Adelaide away, and then GWS on the sprinkler pre-game.
GWS on the sprinkler. I mean, anyone who was there remembers texting everyone in the moment. He's out. He's not going to play. Trust me, he's not going to play. But then whether it's stubbornness from the fitness team or the coaching staff or the playing group, whatever, it was the way they managed after that. He was playing on one foot and may as well have not been playing. Did that then ruin his chances later in the year to have an impact when it really mattered? I don't know.
It's so interesting because I think when you think, like, if you're Charlie and you've missed so much football, you learn to appreciate even more than what you already did what it means to play one game. So I was trying to empathize a bit. Like, if I'm him, I got a rolled ankle, but I can still play a role, and I'm a leader. I'm in a leadership group, and you want to show resilience through injury. But at the end of the day, you probably get just judged on your performance and your output. But at the same time, if you're a key forward and you can bring some attention away from the others, and it's such an interesting discussion. I don't know what the right or wrong answer is. Ultimately, I think looking back, a rest would have been the obvious one for him outside looking in. But I mean, when you've got pride in playing every game, which I'm sure he does because he missed so much, that's a tough one too.
I like that he's a competitor who says, no, I want to go out there and play. And especially at a team like Carlton with the injury history we've had, players who are willing to play, it was spoken about a couple of players that the club really wanted to see them push through a bit more and really drive themselves and see what they can get out of their bodies a bit more than they were. And that's not a knock on those players, but if you get by the end of the season, everyone saw.
Yeah.
Who's made of the right stuff to really push through and get there. It's what separates the men from the boys in a lot of ways. So I'm glad that as a competitor, he was pushing himself to get back out there.
Yeah. So that's Charlie. What about Gov? What a fascinating story.
I love him.
Because
I think I love him because of what he's been through. Yeah.
So what I found with Gov and doing that one was, obviously he comes across after, signs for Adelaide, signs the extension, does the camp. That fucks everyone up. So that's probably traumatizing for a 22, 23-year-old as it is. Yep. Fresh start, comes to Melbourne, big club, Carlton, 2-win season 2018. You're expected to be a high performer. You come, you break your back, you're unfit, you go in the cage in 2019. And I mean, I remember being critical of him because it's mate, we need more. You're supposed to be a leader. And the fact that he's come out the other end, like it was heavy criticism for 3 or 4 years straight.
Good call.
And whether it was warranted or not, I mean, I think the performance side of it, fair. I think fair game.
Yes and no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think football fans and Carlton fans suck at this as well, but all fans. There's a difference between criticism and what a lot of players cop.
Yeah.
You know, I think we can all say, you know, for years it was Plowman. Well, especially at a team like Carlton with the injury history we've had, what got Lockie Plowman picked every week? He was durable. He was never injured. He'd turn up, get a job done, sort of thing. So they saw things that fans weren't looking for. Right now, Orazio Fantasia's now the whipping boy at Carlton. You know, there's certain things that they're doing that fans obviously aren't looking for. Otherwise, they wouldn't be copping. And it's not just criticism; they cop abuse. Gov copped a lot of that, and still that somehow maintains. So somehow there's still people on Twitter saying, "Oh, he's on this much money." Well, he's really not.
Yeah, not anymore.
He might have come on decent coin, but he's nowhere near the numbers that some people in their heads, oh, well, that's what he came to the club on. That's what he must still be on. But I can understand criticising performance, and so we should. We need to hold them to account and hold them to a high standard. But I think what Gov went through was pretty rough, and I think that's one of the things that as a fan has really made me love him a lot more. He is salt of the earth, and we don't pay people to be good human beings, but he's probably my favorite player as a person. He really is. And I know I speak on behalf of a lot of Cheer Squad people. Cheer Squad don't sponsor him or anything like that, but we've got a great relationship with him. Gov turns up to Banner Nights unannounced. He's just got this desire to give back and really acknowledge, hey, you guys do so much for the club. I want to get around you guys.
Love that.
He'll offer up his footy boots that he wore on Good Friday to be part of raffle items and to be part of fundraising for the kids' hospital because it means so much to him as a person and as a dad, what it means to him. He's just a prince. I love him to bits. I love Gov so much. And I think he's a bloody good footballer too. Yeah. He's been through the ringer injury-wise, but I think also there's a misconception that he's still injury-prone. He's pretty much gotten I don't know how many games he played this year. How many did he?
18.
Good return.
Yeah. I mean, 18 plus is a pretty solid return, I think, for anyone. The closer you are to 20. Last year was 22, I think it was. So, yeah, I saw I had forgotten, but his 2022, I thought he actually turned it around. He was just unlucky because he had the chase down against the Bombers and just tore the hamstring. But I thought he was fit. And then 23, I think he finally actually it all came together. So that was Gov. And then Jesse Motlop spoke with Paul Sebastiani on SEN. Well, sorry, Jesse Motlop's manager spoke with Paul Sebastiani on SEN.
That was good.
Here's another one. Is it just recency bias?
Yes.
I can't believe the writing off that I see about Jesse Motlop.
1,000% agree. And you won't meet anyone who loves Owies more than me. I fucking froth. An Owies goal at the Cheer Squad end, the jumper tug, that stuff is heroin to me. I absolutely love it. But this talk of he's the only small forward that's done this and this. Jesse Motlop's just turned 21. And last year he got 20. We said 24. No one's kicked 30 goals. 24.
24 last year.
And he didn't play a full season, I know that. But this year when it came time for the pre-season games across both, we played Geelong and Sydney were our pre-season games, I think.
Melbourne,
was it?
Yeah. He did the toe against Melbourne.
Well, I think there might have been a pracky match, which wasn't one of the official games, might have been the Swans or something like that. Because I remember them saying they're very deliberate in the teams they wanted to play because of the style of games that, anyway. And all of those games, you should see Motlop, what he's looking like. And at the training track, he looked bigger and he looked better and fit. And I thought, here we go. We're going to see. He's going to have the year that Cozzy Pickett had, or he's going to have the year that Stengel had, and he's going to really drive us forward and just be another foil up there to help Harry and Charlie. And he just got injured right at the wrong time again and again and again. And again, that sounds like excuses. I seriously think Jesse's ceiling is pretty high. Yeah. Whether or not it's an A grader is to be seen, but I think he's got a very, very high ceiling. I can understand putting a question mark over a lot of our forwards. Jesse's not one that I've got any doubts over.
I think it's in a weird, warped way. I think the doubt is good for him. I think every player goes through it. Like,
keeps him accountable.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Mackay, for example, every year in his career up until 2023 was a positive, had a positive connotation. Then 23 goes through some mental demons and goal kicking, and he sort of comes out the other end. And 24, he gets through it. Charlie, this was the first year of any form of criticism, probably because it was the only time we could, because he was either too young or just not playing. Jesse, first 2 years, like, he's too young. The criticism about this year in his third kind of means he's earned some respect, because if you're holding him to account in such a young age, it means you think he's that good. So I think it's good for players in the long run. I'm excited for him to be healthy and available and confident in his body. Yeah, I'm not giving up on him in any way.
And it's more so important now that you've lost someone like Owies. I love Owies because he's just reliable. If he's got a set shot, he didn't miss many Owies, that sort of thing. But outside of hitting the scoreboard, which I know is a forward's primary role, there was not a heck of a lot else. Where's the forward pressure, the tackling pressure? Can he be a lead up to the half forward? Can he connect the midfield to the forward line? I think Jesse's got an X factor that not a lot of other players on the list have got, let alone in the forward line. He's got a pace that not a lot of other players. There's a difference between speed and pace. Yes. Jesse, there's times where he hits the crumb, hits the fall of the ball. He's as quick as a hiccup. Like, he just bang, like a bat out of hell, he's there. I think you can't put a price on that. And he's still 21 years old. He's not. If he was 26, I'd have concerns. He's got so much time under his belt.
Timing beats speed, and precision beats power.
Yes, yes. If you're moving the ball and kicking the ball accurately to someone who is not in a stationary position, and they move the ball quickly, you don't have to be leg speed quick, but your ball movement will get you there a lot quicker from full back to full forward if you're moving the ball properly. Yes.
Yeah. Think quicker than your opponent, and you're halfway there. So, yeah, those are three. Are there any others? I mean, preseason stuff will start soonish, but are there any others in particular that you just can't wait to see them respond from what was a bit of a down year?
Yeah, I really do. Brody Kemp. Massively. Yeah. Names thrown around trade-wise. Do I think he is the answer? No. Do I want us to, if we get the opportunity to find another defender from somewhere, whether it's rookie draft or in the draft or whatever, I would love another defender on the list. But I think I don't know, he's becoming the whipping boy for a lot of people. I think there's enough there to persist with. I think he showed signs. I think, again, we talk about ball movement. If we as a team have got the team defense down pat, he's not getting isolated against the Jesse Hogans one-on-one as much. He's not getting isolated against the 205, key forwards like the Kings or these sort of guys, the Talls. Those sort of guys, if we as a team are doing our job, he doesn't get isolated against the monster as much. And I think that's where his weakness lies. We've also got to resource him as much. I saw the comment on there about Walsh as well. I mean, a fit Sam Walsh goes a long way to a good Carlton, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Good call, Shan. Dirds would be nice.
We talked about Motlop. If Dirds steps up, for God's sake.
Yeah. Do you know who I'm really excited for? I think Ollie Hollins. Like, third year coming up. Played 40 plus games. You're supposed to have your second year blues in your second year. I don't think he was that bad. He had moments where he was learning and
Yeah.
obviously the kicking. But I thought towards the back end of this year, the running power through his legs went to a different level. So I'm like, all right, that happened. Continuity, tick, running power, tick, behind the ball, that worked. Another preseason, hopefully injury free. Real power through the legs, core strength, just strength through the hips again. I don't know. I don't want to oversell it, but just the way he trains as well. Like he's such an intense trainer.
For a kid who's slightly built like he is, I don't think he's missed a game through injury in 2 seasons.
No.
So he's not getting beaten up by the big bodies and that sort of thing. There's a handful of times this year where I thought, oh, he's really on the verge of probably needing a spell. Every single time, I swear to God, that I thought that, he'd come out with a really good performance and get close to coaches' votes sort of thing and really, really show a lot. His brother his brother's not a bad player either. I think both of them are pretty bloody handy guys. And Elijah, he had his suspension round 1 and 2, I think.
Yep.
He didn't miss a game after that. So again, at a team that struggles to keep people on the park, guys who you can depend on each week, Billy Wilson underrated. I like it.
Billy Wilson is well, I mean, you kind of want to see something from him next year.
I'm hearing that the club see him as a midfielder rather than a halfback. And losing a bit of midfield depth, he might get an opportunity in there, I think. At least to start with the VFL level.
Billy, Cooper Lord.
Bins.
Maybe, Binsey, maybe Elijah gets more midfield time. Someone mentioned earlier putting Ollie behind the ball. So there's going to be a shake-up of sorts, I feel. Like there's going to be 2 or 3 positional changes, I reckon.
Yep. And, I mean, yes, it's the same thing every year with Carlton. We go, God, if we can just keep him on the park. Like someone in the comments there, I saw Fogg, I saw Cottrell, I saw all of these guys offer really, really good stuff. You just got to get them fit. Silvani, imagine a fit Silvani, what he offers us. We all complain about, do we play 2 rucks? Do we play 1? What does it look like? Sauce solves a lot of those problems.
He does. He does. So we'll get to that. Got about 5 minutes. I want to touch on the draft. It's next week, next Wednesday. I just want to get a pulse check. Where's everyone at with what you have seen? Like, I don't know much about the draftees really, but from what you have seen, who is the player that fits what you think we need?
It's hard draft-wise. I'll read an excerpt on Finn O'Sullivan and I go, oh, yeah, I want that. And then I'll read the description of Sid Draper and I'll go, oh, yeah, but I want that too. Like, what I have seen of Sid Draper is such just speed, and it's Chad Warner. And if you put a Chad Warner in Carlton's midfield, I salivate. But then I look at O'Sullivan and the link, the plays like this player. You guys had an interview, was it Dylan?
Dylan Alexander, yeah.
Loved that. And he had a description about O'Sullivan where he said he can play as a half forward like a Heaney type player who plays in the midfield with an impact. But he said if he's leading up to the ball from half forward, a lot of guys will gather the ball and handball to a player running back toward goal for them to then inside 50. He said he's got the agility to turn around, beat the man, and deliver it inside 50 himself. And I thought, well, shit, we haven't got anyone. I haven't seen anyone do that in a long time. It's Cyril Rioli sort of thing. If we can find someone with that real X factor and running power, they really, really are exciting. I think it's a bit of a no loss with the pick 3. If O'Sullivan's there, from what I've read, I don't know a heck of a lot. From what I've read, if O'Sullivan's there at 3, he seems to be the one we're after, that I think. If he's not there at 3, I think Sid Draper seems immoral.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Is
there other names that you're here? I don't know. You might know more than me.
Honestly, look, my vibe check on it is it's Draper or O'Sullivan. That's just my feeling of what all the information and sifting through what it seems like. Sid, when I watch him, I think of Zach Butters, just like sicko, creates energy and just like creates. O'Sullivan, I don't know. I don't get as excited personally. And maybe that's a good thing for him, because maybe I shouldn't want the flashy thing. Maybe he just gets the job done. I don't know.
Is it possibly the knock that he had an injury or two that you're worried about, or what is it like?
When I think of that half forward line, I think that's Ashton Moyer ready to take over that, or Zach Williams or whatever. I don't know. I watch the Sid highlights and I just see him and Walsh going berserk, and I see them linking up, and I don't know. What I think is more important than anything is whichever one of them it is, like, it's the character. Like, are they going to be resilient enough? Are they going to be able to handle the pressures that come? And are they going to be able to block out the external noise? Because there'll be a lot of noise no matter who it is. Carlton fans, media. Oh, you should have taken Houston. Oh, you didn't want to win now. You wanted to win later, and whatever.
Yeah, Carlton had 2 picks in the top 15, and they could have had 2 players.
Yeah. So they've got to be able to deal with that. And Draper being the leader and being, having played senior football already, I don't know. It's just a personal take. I just lean towards Draper. It could be neither of them.
The fact that we're still this close, and there's still some people saying there's a chance that Richmond still go O'Sullivan 1. If he's even remotely in that conversation, I can't have too many doubts on the kid.
That's true. That's true.
Look, as I said before, I don't think either of them will struggle. I think the fact that we've got the opportunity to have a crack at it in a draft that's meant to be this good, to have a top pick walk in the door, I don't think that they're trading up in the draft to find a kid who will take 2 or 3 years to develop.
True. He'll play round 1. Or
I reckon they're looking for someone to come in and make that immediate impact, like a Sheasel, like a Ashcroft, like a Dacos. Walsh did it for us. Wiedering did it for us. I really think that they're trying for the now and the future as well, of course, but they're really going for the now if they're bringing someone, that top-end talent in the door.
Fair. All right. That's that. Quick one. Is there who's your draftee that you were so excited about that didn't work out, but also on the other end, like your hits and your misses that you're like, yeah, for sure?
I've got one of each that instantly come to mind. Matthew Watson's my miss. It comes up on my Facebook on this day yearly, and I screenshot it for Twitter, and it's swing and a miss, and I can sub-quoting the tweet I put out for Matthew Watson: a strong, agile, booming left foot kick to future 250 gamer for Carlton. Whoopsie. I got that one well wrong. And that was back in the day where I pretended I knew anything about these draftees, let alone, speculating like I'm trying to now. But I thought I knew my shit back then. I didn't. The one who I reckon I saw a fair way back was Cottrell. His first pre-season at the club, the second I heard him winning time trials ahead of Curnow, the second I heard all that sort of stuff, I said, tweaked my interest. And I just watched a couple of early VFL hit-outs that he was in, and this was just before lockdowns and stuff. And I remember seeing 1 or 2 pre-season games, and I thought, there's something to persist with this kid. And I remember saying then and there, on the first time I saw him in any pracky match, it was like one of those, I think we had a 10-quarter match simulation against Collingwood at Icon Park. This is about 5 years ago. Do you remember that one? It just kept going and going, and Grundy came on in like the 7th quarter or whatever it was for Collingwood. It sucked. Anyway,
Yeah, I do.
It kept going. It was that game. And I remember just seeing something from Cottrell, and I said, this kid will debut this year. And everyone goes, oh, no, he's ranked 44th on our list. He's miles up. I said, no, I reckon he'll play. Well, that was he debuted in Perth against Freo later that year, and I'm pretty sure it was our mate John O'Barook who remembered the tweet, and he gave me my flowers that day when he was selected. But
I reckon you came on this show and said it. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure you did. I reckon you did in a preseason. I'm going to find it.
I love Cotters. He's my ginger mate. If he had have continued that early season form, I was ready to die. And Cheer Squad, I'll tell you, I was ready to dye my hair orange for him. I love the man. I'll put that into the universe. If Cottrell can, lift again by round 6, I'll dye my hair orange.
Love it.
Full Fanta.
Yeah, I remember when
who was the one
Troy
you missed on?
May, when Troy Menzel. So my Facebook post. I have on this day it comes up and it's a photo of Troy Menzel and it's in capitals, "We've got a Menzel." And I was like, yeah, this is it, mate. Nah. And I'm thinking of it as you were talking. I'm like, I don't think I've got a single, like all the boys that I latch onto, they're no good. I get them wrong more than I get them right. I'm trying to think who's like my diamond in the rough that I actually liked from the start. Oh, Cowan.
Love Moo.
I had a phone call earlier in the year with a mate of mine, and I'll say it now. I see like Tom Stewart vibes with Cowan. It's hyperbole. It's over the top. It's exaggerated.
In the universe now, it's real.
I see it. I see all of it. Yeah. There's just something there. No fuss, no nonsense. Don't fuck with me. I just think he's got all of it. So
he's reached to come true early as well. His goal was against the Cats.
Yep.
His goal, that G was absolutely going spare for him when he kicked that. And they knew it was him. Sometimes they kick the goal, then they realize who kicked it because you're caught up in the moment. Everyone knew exactly what was going on in that moment. Pay that.
Yep. So, I mean, it's yet to come true. Yeah. I think I'm yet to get one really right, to be honest. So, well,
if the first one you get right is that we get someone half as good as Tom Stewart, I'm thankful for your prediction.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's that. That'll be fun. That'll be next week. So next Wednesday night and Thursday night, we are live here on Blue Abroad and on Pommy and Oz multi at the same time. It's going to be draft content live like you've not seen before. So very excited about that. Nick, thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me, mate.
That was quick.
Always a pleasure to talk, Carlton, but especially with a man like yourself.
Yeah, no, it's good. We'll be in touch over the next few weeks, and look forward to whatever updates come our way.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you, everyone in the comments. Love your work, guys.
Go Blues.
Baggers.